Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my top 24 favorite books of 2024 that I read. So the year is almost over and I've been seeing this video go around a lot with the different booktubers that I watch. So I thought it would be a fun video for me to do as well. I had a hard time picking out the 24 books, not because there was like too many good ones to choose from. It was more so just that I was struggling and having trouble remembering what a lot of the books were about, and that has nothing to do with the fact that the books were bad or good or whatever. It had nothing to do with the actual book. It just me myself, I have a very bad memory, so especially earlier on in the year, remembering what those books were about is kind of hard. So I eventually managed to pick out 24 books. The 24 books that I picked, that's less than half of what I've read this year. So it was, like I said, semi-easy, but also pretty difficult with as far as like remembering certain books, but I managed to pick out the 24 and I'm gonna just show them to you in no particular order. There's no, countdown from 24 to 1. There's no top 5. There's nothing like that. These are the books that I picked and I'm just gonna show you them in, like I said, no particular order per se. So I have them in stacks over here and we're gonna just go ahead and get started. So the first book that I have here is Flawless by Elsie Silver. This is the first book in the Chestnut Spring series. I absolutely love this book. Some of these I can remember that if I rated them a 5, because obviously if I rated them a 5, obviously I loved them and they're like one of my favorites. So this is one of those books. I rated this a 5. I love this. I know a lot of people don't like this book, but I loved it and it was great. So one of my favorites. Next up I have Twisted Love, which is the first book in the Twisted series. Again, I rated this a 5, and again, this is a lot of people don't like this book. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Yeah, so another 5-star there. Next up, we have Pretend You're Mine by Lucy Score. This is the first book in the Benevolence series. Another 5-star read for me. Again, great, small town. Loved it. I loved it a lot. And I think that was one of, if not my first Lucy Score book. I can't remember, but Lucy Score was a huge author for me this year. Next up I have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Again, 5-star read. Love this book. A lot of people really love this series, but this is just, if you love mystery but like not like scary mystery, I mean, I guess you could say that there's some scary parts in here, but this technically is a young adult book, so it's not like overly scary, but 5 stars. Loved it. I think honestly I'm just starting out with all my 5-star reads, because another 5-star read here, I have The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. Again, 5-star. Loved it. I don't know, this was one of the first summer books I read this year, I think, and it set the pace for, I don't know, it was just great read. Another Lucy Score book is Things We Never Got Over. This is the first book in the Knock 'Em Out series. Again, small town, it's Lucy Score. I ate this up. I loved it. I loved it a lot. Next up, we have Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. Again, 5 stars. I did not expect to love this book as much as I did. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect going into this book. I kind of just picked it on a whim randomly, and I loved this book. It was amazing. Love, love, love. Next we have The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the first book in the Naturals series. This is another young adult series and another like mystery type of feel. But I love this book, and again, 5 stars. Can't wait to continue the series of The Naturals. Next up, I have a book that I don't own, so I'm going to do my best, depending on if I'm able to edit this video in a certain program. I should be able to pop the picture up right here for you about the book that I'm talking about. If not, it will be popped up on the screen right here. Anyways, the book that I'm talking about is Mr. Fixer-Upper by none other than Lucy Score. I don't know. I picked this up kind of on a whim, but also not, because this book comes before The Christmas Fix, which is also by Lucy Score, and you had to read the Mr. Fixer-Upper before you could read The Christmas Fix, and I wanted to read The Christmas Fix during the Christmas season, and I hadn't read Mr. Fixer-Upper yet, so I had to read that one first. I didn't really know too much about it going into it. It was on my TBR, so it wasn't just like I randomly picked it out. It was on my TBR to read eventually. I just didn't plan on reading it when I did, but I loved it. 5 stars. It's very like home renovation type of a read, which I find so interesting. So I really enjoyed that one. So another 5 star. Next we have these two actually go together, and they're kind of controversial in my opinion. We have It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover and It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. I rated both of these 5 stars. I loved them so much. Again, I did read both of these at the very, very beginning of the year. I think this was like the second and third book that I read of the whole entire year. So I read these very early on. But I love them both a lot. Like, they're both, in my opinion, both 5 stars. I know a lot of people liked this one more than this one, but I liked them both the same. I would say that this one is a little bit easier to read. This one has a lot of like trauma and stuff in it, I would say. But I don't know. I liked it. So next up we have the second book in the Good Girl Guide to Murder series, Good Girl Bad Blood. Again, I'm continuing with the 5 stars. I swear I just went through and wrote all my 5 stars down right away because I rated them 5 stars. So of course they're going to be a favorite. So this is the second book in the series. It's just as good as the first one, honestly. I honestly can't tell you which one I liked more of the two. They're both amazing. Both, they keep you on your toes, and you're just dying to know what happens. So a great read. I have 2 more stacks here. Next up, we have the second book in the Chestnut Springs series, Heartless by Elsie Silver. 5 stars. I feel like the whole entire series, every single book is going to be a 5 stars, but we'll see. I've only read the first 2 so far. But it's continuing on, 5 stars, continuing with the storyline and the different brothers and whatnot. Again, small town, anything small town, I feel like I'm just loving. So yeah, I don't know. Next up we have Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. This is the first book in the Boys of Tommen series. I think this one I actually rated a 4.5, so it wasn't quite a 5. It was very close to a 5, but I really adored this book. It was great. Very unique setting. This takes place in Ireland. It's a very, very long book, but it's a good book. I really enjoyed it and looking forward to continuing the series. I think, except for a couple maybe, I think we're done with the 5 stars, but I'm not exactly sure what I rated some of these. Next up, these two also go hand in hand. I have One in Rome by Sarah Adams and Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This is the first and second book in the series. I adored this book. Again, small town. It's so cute. I don't remember what I rated it. I want to say maybe a 4, but it is absolutely adorable. So cute. This one takes place in the same little town. It's about the main male character from this book. It's about his sister, and it's just so cute. I think this one I might have rated either a 4 or a 4.5. I can't remember, but really enjoyed both of these books, and I'm looking forward to the third book coming out soon. So those were great. Speaking of what I talked about earlier, we have The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. This one I did rate 5 stars as well. It's great. It's again kind of small townish. It continues with the same characters from the first book. It takes place during Christmas time. It's, in my opinion, it's very Christmassy. They're in a town that is basically like a Christmas town, and they're like fixing it up from a hurricane and making it all magical again. And it's such a good book. I really enjoyed this, and I know I rated this one a 5 star as well. Next up, we have What Happens After Midnight by K.L. Walther. I think this one might have been 5 stars. I can't remember, but I did really enjoy this one. It's the same author as The Summer Has Broken Rules, which I talked about a little bit ago. I really enjoy her writing. I think this is a great book. I don't know. It's very creative and just, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Okay, we're getting there. Last stack here. I have Breathe by Abby Glines. This is the first book in the Sea Breeze series. I believe there's like 8 or 9 books in this series. This is also like a young adult series, I believe. At least I think it is. Maybe not. I'm not entirely sure. But I read this book, and I started actually reading the series. I don't know where I left off in it, but I started reading this series when I was in high school. And like I said, I don't know where I left off in the series, so I decided to start over. So this was a reread for me, but I remember loving it, and I reread it and loved it again. So this one I rated 5 stars. Then we have another Kindle book, which is actually the book that I'm currently reading. So I haven't even finished this book, but I can tell you from how far that I am into it that it's going to be a highly rated book. Again, if I can edit it enough to put the cover here, it'll be here. Otherwise, it'll be on the next little bit here. How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. I've heard a lot of good things about this book. I was very intrigued with the Grinch background of the book, and like I said, I'm not done with it yet. I think I'm not even halfway through it yet. I'm close to halfway, but I'm enjoying this book so much. It is so funny. It's so well written. It's so creative. I love the Grinch similarities. I'm just really enjoying this book, and I can tell you for sure, without even being halfway through it, that I'm going to highly rate this book. I don't want to go overboard and say I'm gonna give it a 5, but it's very possible that I could give it a 5. I'm loving this book so much, so I know this is going to be one of my favorites. So there's that. We have, this is actually the very first book that I read this year. Almost There, A Twisted Tale by Farah, I don't know how you say her last name, Rochan. I have no idea. I don't want to butcher it. I'm so sorry. But this is one of the Twisted Tales series, or Twisted Tales books. This one's about Tiana. Every one of these Twisted Tale books, they're all based on a Disney character, Disney story. Like I said, this one's about Tiana. They all have a what if question. So this one is, what if Tiana made a deal that changed everything? So It's they play very similar to the actual story, but obviously there's differences. It's a twisted tale, so it's not the exact story. It's like if something else had happened instead, what the story would have played out to be. I have read quite a few of these, and enjoyed every single one of them, so this one was no different. I know that I rated this one a 4.5. I really enjoyed this one a lot and look forward to continuing reading more of those. I have 3 more left here. This one is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I was very surprised by this book. I, again, didn't really know what to expect going into it. I didn't really have much to go on, but it sounded interesting to me and I went for it, and I really enjoyed this book. It surprised me, but I really enjoyed it. I don't remember what I rated that one. We have People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This one also kind of surprised me. Most of Emily Henry's books kind of surprised me. Some in a good way, some in a bad way. Or I guess I'm just like comparing them to what everyone else is saying about them, because everyone seems to really, really enjoy Emily Henry's books. Some of them I can understand, some of them I don't quite see why they're so hyped, but this one's pretty interesting. I think this one is probably one of my favorites so far. I haven't read all of her books yet, but this one was very, very good. And the last book that I have here for my 24 favorite books for 2024 is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the same author that wrote the Natural series, which I talked about earlier. So this is, again, kind of like a mystery type of book. Two totally different kind of stories. Like one's like FBI related, this one's kind of more like scavenger hunt-ish, but I enjoyed this book a lot, and again, look forward to continuing the series. And that, my friends, is all of my books that I have for you today. That was 24 books that I read this year that were in my favorites for sure. Like I said, I'm not exactly sure the final number of books that I've read, but I know it's in the high 50s. So, I mean, that was a decent chunk of what I've read this year. But you will see all of the books, including the ones I just showed you. You'll see them all again, and all the ones that I didn't show you in another video coming soon when I go over my 2024 reading recap. Video will be coming out soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Have a magical day. Bye, guys.